It truly is one of the great venues in all of Major League Baseball. Camden Yards in Baltimore. It opened up back in 1992, and for the first time in regular season play, the Cardinals will make their way to Baltimore. It's Interleague Play 2011. The Baltimore Orioles from the American League East will take on the NL Central St. Louis Cardinals. Welcome to baseball here on Fox Sports Midwest. Dan McLaughlin alongside of Rick Horton, and the Cardinals are getting healthier starting tonight.
Yeah, the right-handers are back in the lineup, Dan, and the Cardinals need them desperately. Both David Freese and Nick Punto are back tonight. The Cardinals have really had trouble scoring runs because they don't have that right-handed pop without Albert Pujols. And David Freese, who missed 51 games, and Nick Punto, who missed 36, both back in there tonight in Baltimore, could be an exciting change for the Redbirds.
The starting pitchers here tonight for St. Louis and Baltimore. For the Cardinals, the veteran, the right-hander, Kyle Lohse. Young lefty Britton goes for the Orioles. Game one, next. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are winning. Grab some buds. By Chevy. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. The starters for this series, 2 nights from tonight. Jaime Garcia has been pushed into this series. Tomorrow, we'll see one of the horses of the National League and certainly of the Cardinal staff, and that is Chris Carpenter, back-to-back games of 120 pitches or more. And tonight, the Redbirds turn to Kyle Lohse, and Lohse is trying to pick up his 8th win of the season and do it against the Baltimore Orioles. Camden Yards, one of the great venues in all of sports. We'll talk about little nuances of this ballpark throughout the telecast in the next 3 nights, but it is fantastic. A look at the Southwest Airlines starting lineup with Theriot, Jay, and Holiday. Then Berkman, Freese, Rasmus, Molina, Hamilton, and Nick Punto. Scouting report on Zach Britton.
Only 23 years of age. He's a tough left-hander. His record should be better than the 6-5. The ERA is low. Fastball 89-94. Throws both a 2 and a 4-seam fastball, but what he really likes is the 2-seamer. He wants ground balls more than anything.
The defense for the Orioles presented by Dobbs. Scott, Jones, and Markakis in the outfield. Reynolds, Hardy, Ardino, and Lee along the infield. Britton and Wieters. The Dobbs defense. And Wieters statistically behind the plate, one of the best right now in baseball. There's a look at Buck Showalter and Tony La Russa, guys that have been around this game, Rick, as you well know, a long time.
No doubt. He also has some coaches on his staff. Buck Showalter, who have some experience. Willie Randolph, the bench coach. John Russell, the third base coach. So a lot of experience trying to turn this Baltimore franchise around.
A lot of hope coming into this season because of how they finished a year ago under Buck Showalter. One of the best finishes in all of Major League Baseball. They finished up 34-23 as Theriot hits a fly ball into left center field. That'll be caught by Luke Scott, the former Astro.
Expect to see a lot of home runs in this series, Dan. This is a hitter's ballpark, the second most home runs in all of baseball. Yankee Stadium's first. Camden Yards is second in terms of home runs per game. Short left field porch, short right field porch. A little more kind of a normal type depth in center field. But I expect to see some home runs.
Here is John Jay. Takes a ball up and away. The right fielder is batting .306 with 5 home runs, and he's driven in 17. 1 ball, 1 strike. Only Minnesota finished up with a better record than the Orioles a year ago after Buck Showalter left ESPN to come manage this club. And he's got his fingerprints all over this ball club, up and down in their minor league system, and he is going to run things the way that he wants it. Remember,
the way it should be.
In Arizona, when he was there, got a jump start on that franchise and was allowed to help in the selection of players and what they wanted to do, what direction they wanted to go in. And he's been right on the cusp of winning championships, and it seems like either he leaves or he gets fired. Next guy comes in, reaps the benefits.
I think he'd like to stay around for the rewards this time.
Yeah. The 2-2 swung on by John Jay, and the strikeout for Zach Britton, his first of the night.
Nice breaking ball from Britton. Been tough on left-handers. Going to be a tough challenge for John Jay. Cardinals really have had trouble against left-handers since Albert's gone down, Dan. We mentioned that's one of the good things about having David Freese back in that 5th spot, having Nick Punto back in the lineup.
It was our Plaza Tire Service replay. 2 outs, nobody on for Matt Holliday. Cardinals get the DH in play tonight as well, so that's Mark Hamilton. And then, as you mentioned, you do get David Freese back, and Freese is batting in the 5th spot, and then Nick Punto will bat 9th tonight in this lineup. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tony likes to do that. You come off the DL or you get recently called up, he puts you right in the fire.
Well, I think it makes sense. You're itching to play. You didn't come off the disabled list to watch. You want to play. But I think it's a little bit born out of necessity. I think Freese is very much a needed player right now, especially Punto as well. But I think Freese more so. Matt Holliday's been so-so last week or so. Lance Berkman struggling from the right side. Perfect pitch from Britton.
The 2-2 to Holliday. And that's a strikeout. The late call by our home plate umpire, Larry Vanover. Kyle Loesch to work when we come back. Impressive first inning for the lefty, Zach Britton. No score as we welcome you back to Camden Yards. And a look at the lineup for the Orioles. Hardy, Markakis, and Jones. Vladimir Guerrero, Wieters, Lee, Scott Reynolds, and Adino. The scouting report for the right-hander, Kyle Loesch.
Kyle Loesch has not had a very good month of June. Still looking for his first victory in the month. Works well with a wider strike zone. If the home plate umpire gives him the corners, he's much better. Off-speed finishing pitch is very important to him. Being able to finish off batters with either the slider or the changeup.
And the former Milwaukee Brewer steps in against Loesch, and that's J.J. Hardy. Mark Reynolds leads all Major League third basemen with 14 home runs. Then J.J. Hardy at 10. And that's the best combination of third baseman and shortstops as far as the home run department is concerned. What you get concerned about with Reynolds certainly are the strikeouts.
His defense hasn't been very good this year either. And with the left-handed pitcher we're seeing tonight, he's really going to rely on good fielding on the left side of the infield. Hardy's certainly a very, very good fielder.
Strikeout for Loesch, and it's Holliday, Rasmus, and Jay in the outfield. Freese, Terrio, Punto, and Berkman along the infield. And our battery is Kyle Loesch and Yadier Molina. It's great to see David Freese, Rick, back in that lineup and playing third base.
Yeah, for offensive and defensive purposes, although Daniel Descalzo has done a nice job manning that position in his absence. But the right-handed bat of Freese, the power potential that he has, especially in a ballpark like Camden Yards, nice to have him back for this road trip. This could be, Dan, I don't want to say pivotal, maybe that's too strong a word, but I think it's an important road trip for the Cardinals to show that they're not going to continue to go south. They're going to turn some things around. Two clubs with potential to do that against the Orioles, Tampa Bay, on again, off again type team. Cardinals ought to be able to win 4 games on this trip.
Very much a rough homestand as we saw, especially after the sweep of Toronto over the weekend. That's right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nick Punto, the former Minnesota Twin, should be used to this ballpark. Number of years in the American League, and he's at second base tonight.
Love watching him play.
Defensively, especially.
Oh, yeah. Very smooth.
Freese will give chase, and that's out of play. I talked to David before the game. He said, Dan, all I can tell you is I'm ready to come out of my shoes and out of my skin right now. I can't wait to get a bat in my hands and have a chance to play. He said, I was just so sick of rehabbing and not being able to contribute. He said it's been tough the last couple of years, knowing that a team trades for you and you're expected to be that guy every day, and then you don't contribute. You can't.
So you know what I do if I'm the other team's pitcher? Throw him a lot of changeups.
See if he chases. He's over aggressive.
Yeah. I mean, you got a guy that's itching to hit. Those are my favorite guys. Just throw it slower. They can't wait to hit, then make them wait.
Here's a 2-2 pitch to Nick Markakis. Markakis rips it into right field for a base hit. That'll go to the wall. John Jay mishandles it just a bit. Markakis will stop at second base, and it's a one-out double. Nick Markakis is only 27 and already closing in on 1,000 career hits.
Yeah, he's a great hitter, and he's probably one of the more underrated hitters in the game of baseball. There are certainly people outside of Baltimore who knows who he is, but I think he's kind of a top-level hitter in the game of baseball, and showed it there.
A struggle this year for the Orioles at times has been runners in scoring position. They were 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position on Sunday, and in their last 5 games hitting just 174 in this spot. Now you want to talk about an exciting young player that can play some defense. How about this guy, Adam Jones?
Very nice numbers in interleague play. And again, he's got the kind of power that really works here at this ballpark. 13 home runs. Be careful.
Markakis now a 17-game hitting streak to tie his career high. And this is the kind of ballpark where you can take home runs away with the way that it's designed with the wall. And Adam Jones has done that a time or two. A lot of teams followed suit in newer ballparks in doing a wall like this because of the excitement of seeing guys rise above the wall and take a home run away.
I like that play.
I do too.
Fun. I think most people do. They've also done a nice job with the new ballparks of making sure that the fences are not so solid. There used to be really just concrete fences for a time in the 80s and before that. Now they've got a little bit of give to them, and it also can't be too much give. It's got to be just the right kind of texture, so if an outfielder runs into that fence, it'll give a little bit, and you won't have to deal with injuries, separated shoulders.
Jones got a piece to stay alive. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tony La Russa talking before the game how he understands, Rick, that his starting rotation, we've talked about the bullpen, but even the starting rotation has got to be a little bit better and step it up.
No doubt. Importance #1 for the Cardinals. 7+ innings out of McClellan, Loesch, Carpenter, Westbrook, Garcia. Bullpen will get better if they do that. The hitting deficiencies won't be as glaring that we've seen over the last 10 days. And we'll talk about Albert a little bit less. Cardinals certainly miss him, but winning will take care of that a little bit.
I was talking with Kyle McClellan before the game, and I said, what happened in the at-bat by Ricky Romero on Sunday? He said, honestly, I thought there was really no chance that he was going to be able to get a base hit against me. And he said, I supplied the power, and it was a fastball, and he put the bat on the ball. Give him credit. Just one of those deals. At that point in time, he was actually pitching fairly well in the game. The 3-2 is hit into right field. John Jay on the move and makes the catch in front of the track. Runner tags up Markakis. First bank, first take. First bank, we're banking on your future. Expect a lot of runs in this series, especially when you talk about interleague play with the Orioles.
Yeah, the Royals tied for second, 5 runs per game, but they also give up a lot of runs. And again, some of that has something to do with the ballpark here. And I'm with you, Dan. I love this ballpark. It's great. Just a great setting, and really was ahead of its time. So many ballparks followed suit with a little bit more of a price tag to it.
This one was built for $110 million. And now we're hearing about the Yankee Stadium at $1 billion with a B. 1992 it opened up. revitalize this portion of Baltimore. And an 0-1 pitch to Vlad Guerrero. Numbers in the interleague career of Vladimir Guerrero: last 24 games for the O's. Their designated hitters just 1 home run.
Now, if you walk Vladimir Guerrero, you're really trying to walk it.
Yes, he is the epitome of a free swinger. So here's a look at some of the numbers concerning Camden Yards. 93 All-Star game, postseason play in 96 and 97, but never has hosted a World Series game. Baseball only facility here in downtown Baltimore. Off the end of the bat, slowly hit. Berkman steps on the bag, and the Orioles will strand a runner. No score after 1. Berkman leads it off when we come back. David Freese due up second for the Cardinals. Jim Hayes asked him about his return to the lineup tonight.
I mean, we're at the end of June. Maybe I can bring a little more energy. This is a tough part of the season where you got to kind of regroup and get after it a little harder, because it's a long season. So I'm refueled, ready to go, and maybe I can bring a little bit to the table.
At the time that he was hurt, he was batting .356, pair of home runs, 14 RBIs, and you get him in a spot, Rick, in which he's not one of the big threes, so not a lot of pressure is put on his shoulders, but yet he is in a spot in the lineup to drive in runs.
You might say he's one of the big 3 right now, though. I mean, if Albert's out of the lineup and you're in that 5th spot behind Lance Berkman, I think the expectations are ramped up a bit for David Freese, but it seems like he's welcoming that opportunity. And it's not as if he's a 22-year-old rookie. He's never played in the big leagues before. I mean, he's had some experience. He just can't stay healthy long enough to be the everyday player all year long. And maybe this is the last injury we'll see from David Freese. Maybe he'll just become a everyday third baseman for years to come.
The 1-1 is hit out to right center field. Adam Jones, the Gold Glover, puts it away. Always look at on-base percentage as well when you talk about anybody, but especially guys like a David Freese that are put into spots in a lineup to drive in runs, get on base. And at that time, his on-base percentage was .394. 1 out, nobody on, and Freese is swinging a miss.
Oh, he's become a selective hitter too. He's not an over-anxious guy. And when you're a selective hitter with some power, that's a pretty good combination.
The 0-1 pitch. Make it 0-2. Rick, you being a former pitcher, did you approach guys coming off the DL differently than a regular?
Well, I figured they'd be a little rusty, and really what we were talking about before, a little over anxious. And so you would think a guy coming off the disabled list, we've talked about it a lot with Skip Schumacher, you're not going to have your timing down. So you'll do even more to make sure there's a difference in the velocity of your pitches, even your fastball. Talked about Britton's able to really throw the fastball between 89 and 94. That's a pretty big difference. You throw a 94 two-seamer and then an 89 sinker, it's going to look like 2 pitches to anybody, but particularly a guy like David Freese, whose timing may be off a bit.
The 2-2 pitch. Freese slowly hit left side, hustling down the line, and he'll have a base hit. Welcome back to the lineup. Infield hit for David Freese. Mark Reynolds couldn't come up with it. Pujols Family Foundation Golf Tournament on August 8th. And they'll host their 9th annual Albert Pujols Celebrity Golf Tournament. Thousands have been raised for kids across the country and in the Dominican. Albert Pujols Celebrity Golf Tournament on August 8th. Visit PujolsFamilyFoundation.org to find out more. Here's Colby Rasmus. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. You would expect that Britain could be very tough on the lefties here tonight. Guys like Mark Hamilton, Colby Rasmus. You turn around Lance Berkman and Nick Punto. John Jay also struck out first time up.
I'd be okay with a bunt attempt right here for Colby Rasmus. Mark Reynolds playing him way back at third base. Now Rasmus does have power. A little bit more difficult for him to have power against the left-handed starter. Mark Reynolds playing way back, and he just booted a ball. Has 18 errors on the year. So I say put that ball in his hand as quickly as possible. See what he does with it.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. And we saw over the weekend Colby sacrifice and a very good one against the Blue Jays.
Never forget, I read a book as a kid on Mickey Mantle, who was a player that I got a chance to see as a kid in New York. And Mickey Mantle said in his book that anytime he was struggling at the plate, which wasn't very often, he would bunt. And that would help him keep his eye on the ball longer. And he had, of course, great speed, Mickey Mantle, and so he would get a number of bunt base hits that would kind of boost his confidence a bit, and so it just became another weapon. And now teams know that you might bunt, even though he's a power guy, certainly one of the greatest power hitters ever. But you'd think, well, I may have to take the bunt away too, and that opened up some other holes for him.
A 3-1 pitch now to Colby Rasmus. And Rasmus hits a towering shot down the right field line. It is hooking, and that ball is foul.
Longest bunt I've ever seen.
Rod Carew always would go back to a bunt as well.
Jack Clark would do it.
Is that
Yep.
Jack would do it?
Yeah,
huh?
in fact, Jack was an outstanding bunter. I mean, hard to imagine that.
I'd rather see him swing.
I understand, but if you're struggling, you know, it just helps you. Again, you got to see the ball all the way to the bat. And some hitters say it helps them.
A 3-2 pitch. Take it for a ball low and outside. So runners at first and second for Yadier Molina. Did it miss? It did, not by much. Molina is hitting .294, 4 home runs and 32 RBIs.
The 38th walk for Colby Rasmus. We mentioned that Guerrero doesn't like to walk. He's walked 9 times. Damn.
The Cardinals win. Molina's hitting .398. In losses, he's hitting under 200. It's pretty telling of what he means to this lineup for the Cardinals. Going back to Rod Carew for a moment, he was the hitting coach of the Milwaukee Brewers, and I had a chance to visit with him, and it just seemed like it didn't make any sense. He had Jose Hernandez and Richie Sexson, I mean, guys that were like Mark Reynolds, and yet Rod Carew is their hitting coach. Guy that puts the ball in play, doesn't strike out, on base percentage Hall of Famer. Couldn't get them to cut down on their swings. Molina with a high fly ball into right field. Markakis is back to make the catch. David Freese tags up from second to third.
Rod Carew had that great batting stance, kind of open stance, just laid the bat back, just very smooth, short stroke, like you said, and really wasn't much to his swing, but over 3,000 hits, he was doing something right.
Absolutely. Very nice man, too. Runners at first and third for Mark Hamilton. Tough assignment, Rick. You get the impression here, this lefty-lefty matchup.
Going to be a tough chore for Mark Hamilton.
The DH in play. He's your designated hitter. I'm sure the one thing he's excited about is the fact that he gets extended at bats. Now here's a guy that's only been a pinch hitter basically at the major league level.
Yeah, even though it's against a left-hander, at least he's going to get 3 or 4 at-bats against him, and you know, maybe the lefty won't be in for all 4 at-bats, and he'll have a right-handed reliever to deal with.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Mark Hamilton. Nice block by Wieters.
It does in a way, hamstring the Cardinals a little bit when you use a DH. The problem you run into with Hamilton being the second first baseman that you have now as a DH, if for whatever reason you want to give time off to Lance Berkman, you put Hamilton at first, you lose the DH. Basically, the way the rule works. But Daniel Descalso has some experience at first. So does Yadi Molina. So there are other options.
Hometown product. Hamilton at the plate from right here in Baltimore. Saw the pitch before the block by Wieters. He leads all of Major League's catchers and runners caught stealing, and only catcher with over 50 starts that has not been charged with a pass ball. He's very good defensively.
And that's a name we've been hearing for many, many years. The can't miss prospect.
In the dirt again. I'm sure this pitching staff feels confident in situations like this with a runner at third to bounce that breaking ball to see if Hamilton will chase, and Wieters just keeps it in front.
Cardinal fans know how valuable that is.
Two balls, two strikes. Up the middle, base hit for Hamilton. He comes through. A run will score, and it's 1-0 St. Louis. Hometown kid Mark Hamilton. His second RBI this year. How about that?
Well, that's a great way to handle an opportunity given to you. He's down in the count, gets a pitch he can handle, just drives it up the middle. Nothing too difficult about that, nothing complex. But RBI producing. Way to go, Mark Hamilton.
Now Nick Punto with runners at first and third. David Freese in his return to the lineup, an infield base hit, and scores a run. Nick Punto, the ninth place hitter. And he hits a line drive, base hit, right center. It's 2-0. Hamilton on his way to third. As the run scores, that's Colby Rasmus. 2-0 St. Louis. And two guys that return to the lineup tonight already paying off.
We talked about how important these right-handers would be to this Cardinals lineup, and they both produced here in the second inning. David Freese singled and scored, and now Nick Punto with a 2-out RBI. You know, when he got hurt, the Cardinals were doing an awful lot of 2-out RBIs, and he just kind of picked right up where he left off.
Here's Ryan Theriot, flied out to left to start the game. 2-0 St. Louis. And first time through the lineup, Cardinals pick up 3 hits and a walk. That's in there for strike one.
Breaking ball looks a little sloppy from Britton. He's not really got the downward biting action on his slider. He's thrown a couple of good ones, but he's thrown a couple that just kind of sitting up in the middle of the plate.
A 1 pitch to Ryan Theriot. Make it 0-2. Oh-2 pitch to Theriot. Up the middle, that's a base hit. 3 consecutive singles with 2 outs in all 3 driving in runs.
Well, Mark Hamilton had the first one, then Punto, now Ryan Theriot. Much better hitter when he hits the ball on the line or on the ground. And Britton all of a sudden struggling to throw quality pitches.
Buck Showalter, when he took over the Baltimore Orioles, Rick, he talked about this being a rebuilding project to an extent, but one of the things that he mentioned, good young talent. Now, can we harness that talent? Can we make it come together to compete in the American League East? That's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, you've got players throughout the game of baseball that have talent, but sometimes they don't really know what that means, and they don't know what that means in conjunction with a winning team. And that's what a manager's job is, to convince them that, yes, you have talent, but we need results, and we need to do it collectively. It's an individual sport played as a team. You got to do your thing, but you also have to do it within the team construct. And baseball has some complexity with that, and not everybody that has talent makes it.
1-0 pitch now to Jon Jay. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jay struck out swinging his first time up. And the lefty, Britton, struck out 2 in the first inning. 4 base hits this inning, along with a walk and a big gap in right center field. The 1-1 pitch. Jay shoots it foul and right over the Cardinal dugout. One and 2 the count on Jay. Thankfully, that fan is all right. The 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Runners at first and second. Cardinals have scored 3. The 2-2 pitch. Ground ball to first. Derek Lee, the former Gold Glover in Chicago, handles it himself. Mark Hamilton, Baltimore native, and the DH tonight comes through. Cardinals with 3 consecutive 2-out singles, and it's 3-0 midway through 2. And we take a look at our Toyota keys to the game.
Some power from Baltimore in the month of June. 32 home runs. They lead all of baseball in that department. Again, this ballpark. We expect to see a few more in this series.
Piece of paper. They thought it was a ball out in left field. That's why we have the delay. Holiday will just put that in his back pocket.
So the home runs of Baltimore, Dan, Cardinals starting pitching, are going to have to negate those. Kyle Lohse, keep the ball down. We're going to see Chris Carpenter, who's given up a fair share of home runs this year, and now Jaime Garcia to start the 3rd game of this series. Got to find ways to keep the other team in the ballpark.
Just seems like that inning gave this team a little jolt.
I agree.
You know, after what they went through on the homestand, they get 2 players back that can contribute every single day with David Freese and Nick Punto, and they do come through early on.
There are gut checks in every season.
And a fly ball out to left. Holiday, even with that plastic in his back pocket, somehow comes up with it. What are you laughing at?
I'm just thinking about how Holiday was able to make that play with the plastic in his pocket. That was pretty funny, Dan. Well, the gut check, back to that. You know, there are times where I think fans will question, is this team very good or not? We think they're going to be good. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. There are times during the season where you're not so sure how good you are as a team. And I think the Cardinals are in gut check time, maybe for the first time all season long, with what they've dealt with in the last couple of weeks.
Here's Derek Lee. You think about wrist injuries and what Albert Pujols is going through. Derek Lee has had his share of those over the years. And to me, Rick, this is the biggest gut check. When you have a guy like Pujols and what he means reputation-wise to the lineup and how others are pitched to, it's a massive loss.
Yeah, you haven't won very much in the last 2 weeks. You're going on a road trip. The All-Star break's right around the corner. You find yourself 3 games out, a game ahead of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And your starting staff is struggling. How are you going to react?
One out base hit for Derek Lee. Now 1 hit shy of 1,900 for his career.
Not a bad location. Down in the zone. Pretty good movement.
And here is Luke Scott. 237 hitter with 9 home runs and 22 RBIs. One-0 pitch by Kyle Lohse, hit sharply to short. Theriot can't come up with it. He fields it cleanly. That's a double play.
Certainly a tough short hop, but kind of a confused approach at this ball. He wasn't sure whether to backhand it or actually field it in front of him. And it kind of handcuffed him a little bit. I think it got on him faster than he thought, had a little break to it, and they're actually calling that an error. I thought that'd be a base hit. Was hit hard, but it's his 14th error of the season.
And now you bring in the dangerous Mark Reynolds with 2 runners on and 1 swing of the bat to tie it up. Batting strikeouts most in the American League. Mark Reynolds was 78. At last check, Adam Dunn was 1 for 51 against left-handed pitching this year. Big free agent signing by the White Sox. 2 balls and no strikes here on Reynolds.
Well, Reynolds came over here to be in the middle of the lineup and to be a big producer, and he's batting 8th.
It's a high fly ball out to center field. And the catch is made by Rasmus. Runner tags. That's Lee from second to third.
He almost did some big producing right there.
Cardinals' new ticket pricing system. Great deals for games throughout the 2011 season. And the Cardinals have all-inclusive tickets for the Cardinals and Diamondbacks and the Cardinals and Reds. All-inclusive tickets July 5th, 6th, and 7th available for just $55. All your food and drinks included, $55. Get yours now at Cardinals.com. Runners at first and third. And Dino is the hitter. It's scary to look back at the end of this year, Rick, and see how many outs this defense has given away. I mean, very clearly, you look at that last play by Theriot, and again, not an easy play, but
innings over.
Innings over. Now you're talking an extended inning. You don't know if damage will be done.
Well, if Mark Reynolds would have hit that ball to left field or right field, it would have been some severe damage. We'd have a tie score. He has the kind of power to hit the ball out at any part of the ballpark, and he hit that to straightaway center field about 415.
The 1-1 pitch. Now on the other hand, Cardinals this year defined by 2-out RBI base hits. And already tonight, runners in scoring position, 2 outs. The Cardinals went 3 for 4.
Yeah, it's been a trademark of this club, 2-out RBIs. But the defense is also a trademark, and I would say that it's up to the Cardinal pitchers to make that a less important number. And the way you do that is you just cover up the errors. Brian Theriot boots the ball. Kyle Lohse get the next 2 guys out, and we won't even remember it 3 innings from now.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. And it's a strikeout. He fooled him and froze him. Loesch with 2 strikeouts here tonight. Jim Hayes coming up next. We've got baseball's biggest stars. They'll gather in Arizona for one spectacular night. It's the All-Star Game, and you can see it exclusively on Fox. That's at 7, and that'll begin July 12th at 7, only on Fox. Jim Hayes has joined us, and the big bats coming up. Holliday, Berkman, and Freese. And Jim, we've seen both the guys returning to the lineup tonight, David Freese and Nick Punto, contribute early on.
Well, Punto had a 7-game rehab stint with Springfield. And he said the main obstacle for him was throwing the baseball. He said the timing and stuff, everything was there. He's worried because he had the forearm injury. And he said in his last game on Sunday, he was forced to make a diving play at second and then a strong throw on to first. He did it, and he said that was the final test, and he felt like he passed.
Holliday pops it up a mile high. Wieters near the screen and out of play.
And with David Freese, you guys were in the bite of him talking about hoping to be infusing some energy in a team that has hit a bit of a grind. John Mozeliak also said the fact that Freese missed 50-plus games might help him with the ankles. You know, the ankles are a long-range concern medically for the Cardinals, and this was his chance to let those things heal as well. So he was looking at a silver lining.
One hop to short, J.J. Hardy. Take a look at the All-Star balloting leaders right now. And this is for the National League with Braun and Holliday and Berkman. So the potential is you could have 3 Cardinals if Pujols holds on. That would be part of the All-Star game. You would think that Molina would have a shot. Anybody else jump out at you, Rick?
Well, you think about the starting pitchers, but some of them are kind of going in a southerly direction over the last month or so. Kyle Loesch was off to a great start. So was Garcia, but their pitchers probably having better years than those guys right now. I think that's the Cardinals' best shot this year. But you know, the Cardinals are really going to be defined as a lot of players having good years more than the 3 or 4 having great years. Although
this guy is
having
a great year.
Yeah, I'd love to see this guy in the All-Star game. He's just barely hanging on right now. By the way, Matt Kemp starting to pick up some ground on the outfield.
You know, you think about Berkman, you have to wonder from the Orioles' perspective after seeing him at the end of last year and scouting him as a Yankee, and now to see these numbers, it's a completely different player. Lance finished up last year in the American League East. 2 balls and 1 strike on Berkman, with David Freese to follow, and the Cardinals on top by the score of 3-0. Now you're talking pitching, Rick, and one guy that knows a lot about pitching, the booth to our right, Jim Palmer.
Been around a long time.
Oh yeah. Famous for certain commercials and also famous for what he did on the mound here in Baltimore. The 3-1 pitch. And it's taken low.
One of the 420 game winners that they had here in Baltimore. They had an outstanding rotation here.
And Jim, he had a chance to be in the dugout when you were there, so I know that he was thrilled to meet you among many Cardinals.
Well, he was kind enough to introduce himself to me because I was sitting next to Jason Mott. So here's Jim Palmer, Hall of Famer, comes up, introduces himself to Mott, and I'm there, so he had to introduce himself. And then he said, "You're the guy with a fantastic arm."
Speaking to Mott.
Not you.
Mott said, "You mean Jim?" "No, he's got a good one." But that's how humble he is. But then when, you know, Palmer said that he talked to an advanced scout and they were raving about Mott's arm, and he said he just wanted to stop by and say hi. And when he walked away, Mott's a very low-key guy. He had a big smile on his face, and I said, "That's a nice moment for you." And he said, "Yeah."
No doubt.
They don't think he doesn't have a few boys he's going to call later and tell him.
There's a base hit again by David Freese, who is 2 for 2 in his return to this lineup.
See, itchy is good. When you're itching to get in there, it's a good thing, Ricky.
So Freese with the infield base hit. Now this one, a base hit line drive to left field.
You know what? You could feel the enthusiasm and the energy today at the ballpark, because for a team that has had so many injuries and they're trying to deal with it and cope and everything, to actually get a couple guys back, there was a definite lift for the ball.
Ready for something positive, weren't they? I agree.
Now it's Rasmus with 2 runners on. He walked and scored his first time up. Also in that at bat, he hit one home run distance, but just fouled down the right field line. And the foul poles actually were brought from the previous stadium here in Baltimore.
Memorial Stadium?
Memorial Stadium, and put here at Camden Yards.
They're recycled?
Recycled, if you will.
What else would you do with it?
I recall going to the old ballpark, and as I remember it, Memorial Stadium was built right in the middle of a neighborhood. You drive through what looked like just a suburban area, boom, baseball park.
2-0 pitch to Colby Rasmus. Here it comes. A pop-up. Hardy backs up to make the catch. And with that, there are 2 down, and it brings in Yadier Molina. You see the warehouse in right field as they plunked this ballpark right by that. That's where the Orioles offices are located, also some other businesses as well. That was built between 1898 and 1905. It's the longest building on the East Coast, but only 51 feet wide.
Brian Bartow of the Cardinals PR department told me that if you actually tilted this the other way and put it upright, it would be as tall as the Empire State Building, but really thin.
Molina has been so good in this spot with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
We are educating our audience, are we not?
I just think we're in awe of a long, thin building.
Neat place. Had the chance to do Cal Ripken's final game here, and it was unbelievable. Ceremony before and after the game, and how it was put on and the way it was done really was a special event. Slowly hit down that first base line, and Molina is tagged out. The Cardinals will strand 2, and midway through 3, Redbirds on top. Cardinals with a 3-run lead early on as we move to the bottom of the 3rd, and Cal Ripken, part of our this date in baseball history, and that was back in 2000, hit number 3,000. And he is one of only 8 players in history with both 400 home runs and over 3,000 hits. And the question always comes up, will anybody break the record of Cal Ripken, 2,632 consecutive games, before he sat back on September 20th of 1998.
It almost have to be a DH. Depends on what happens with the realignment, what they do with the DH. If that becomes kind of a growing thing, where all of a sudden more games have designated hitters involved, then maybe so. But I wouldn't bet. I wouldn't bet in that direction.
Punto retires J.J. Hardy. Cal Ripken, number retired, number 8, and spent his entire career here with the Baltimore Orioles, 21 years.
The night he tied the Iron Man streak, there was a Cardinal in the stands as a young boy. That was Mark Hamilton.
And Mark Hamilton, born in Baltimore, Maryland.
His family moved when he was about 11, but he had been here a number of times, saw an all-star game here, and he said this was a place growing up he always dreamed of playing, and tonight he is as a DH.
Picked up a 2-strike, 2-out base hit. Part of that 3-run inning for the Cardinals. And here's a ground ball to the right side. Berkman to Loesch. And there's 2 outs. 6 is a serious number again. The Cardinals score 6, get 25-cent drinks the next day, all day at On the Run at Mobile. That's any 20-ounce coffee, fountain, or frozen drink for just $0.25. And we're serious at On the Run at Mobile. Was that place for you, Rick? Was that Shea Stadium?
Oh, yeah.
Going back home
Oh,
for
yeah.
you?
That was a big deal. First time I went there, I had 68 passes. It drove C.J. Cherry crazy. I said, oh, I got one more. I need one more. I need 10 more. And I learned not to do that ever again. But something about pitching at Shea Stadium, to me at the time, had a big league feel that other parks didn't feel like. I mean, because I could remember sitting up in the stands. Now, Shea Stadium, most of all of us would say, is a dump. There's C.J. Cherry, Cardinals traveling secretary.
He wouldn't say Shea is a dump.
Well,
He might.
He might. And he's forgiven me for all those tickets I asked for that one particular day. But there was something about being able to look up in the stands and know that I'd sat there before to watch a game. I'm sure Mark Hamilton feeling not exactly the same here at Camden Yards, but that little bit of a feel of playing in front of people that he used to be in with. As a fan of the Orioles, it's really a unique situation. Butterflies
Ball and 2 strikes.
Butterflies are certainly present in those situations.
This is Adam Jones, who flied out to right his first time up. Looks at a pitch outside. The 2-2. Curious to know how Adam Wainwright fared over the weekend and again today. He told us in our telecast that he was going to throw, play catch on Monday. I have to wonder about how he feels today and what kind of soreness he's going through. Finds his seats and out of play. And I'm sure for him, it's probably a good soreness, knowing that he's back throwing a baseball, not just throwing that weighted ball that he talked about. He told us he was firing that thing, but actually throwing a baseball like that. What are the odds it's going to land back out on the field? The 2-2.
Well, you mentioned Wainwright being hurt, and I wouldn't expect to see him in 2011. That would be something short of just shy of a miracle, I think, for him to be able to throw a ball even in October, even though there's some conversation about that. But what you said, Jim, about players coming off the disabled list and providing energy, kind of a silver lining way to look at this Cardinal team. They've got plenty of guys that are going to come back. Alan Craig comes back, you get another jump. Of course, when Albert comes back, even more so.
But right now you're hoping that you just tread water a little bit until those guys come back and stay in this race. Be very close at the All-Star break. You take that break, you know, some players will tell you they really need it just to get away from the game for a couple of days. Get ready for a stretch run. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Adam Jones.
The guys who have 10-game hit streaks, they don't want the All-Star break.
No.
Guys are sitting on an 0 for 15. They can't wait.
Or they're saying, let me just get one hit and then let's,
yeah, that's right.
I can handle the 1 for 18. I can't handle 0 for 18. The 3-2 pitch to Jones. Pounding that outside corner and doesn't get the call.
The All-Star game not very far away from us right now, and why we're talking about it. I mean, I can tell you there are times, most times, coming back after the All-Star break, I felt very uncomfortable when I picked up a baseball again for the first time. That 3 days felt like 3 weeks. And more teams are doing workouts now than they used to. Used to be 3 days off completely. And the idea was just don't do anything. You know, you lose your release point a little bit. I mean, I'm not sure it's always a good thing for pitchers especially.
Chopper towards short. Terrio makes the play. Guerrero is retired. Jim, we'll see you on the post-game show. Great job as always. 3-0 St. Louis. Before the game tonight, Jim Hayes asked Tony La Russa about the designated hitter.
But if I had my preference, I would have both leagues do the same thing. And the same thing would be to have the pitcher in the lineup, just because you see more of the whole game of baseball. You know, the defense can become more important, making a run, saving a run. It adds a lot to me, but don't ever misunderstand that when you're in the American League with that extra hitter, you got a longer game, and there are a lot of crooked numbers that are out there potentially.
2 balls and no strikes on the DH here. The 8th place hitter for the Cardinals tonight, Baltimore native Mr. Hamilton, and he looks at a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. And I think you would agree, Rick, if you're going to have interleague play, and it's here to stay, you would assume that if you go to,
And it may expand.
and it may expand, you might have every team do it. As Hamilton will ground here to second. But it makes sense. If you're in a National League park, use the DH. American League park, give them a sense of what it's like the other way and let the pitcher hit.
Well, if I got to be commissioner for a day and I don't want that job, and I had a chance to either get rid of interleague play or the designated hitter, I would jump on the designated hitter first. Of the 2 things, the interleague play has grown on me. The designated hitter has not.
Here's Nick Punto trying to bunt his way on, and foul. The Players Association, and you were a guy that was heavily involved with that when you were playing as a player rep. They're going to have a big say in this, and it means jobs. It means high-paying jobs, too.
They have a big say in everything, clearly. The Players Association has always been very strong, going back to Marvin Miller. And then Donald Fear after him, and players have really done well by themselves, you'd say. But in this case, I think the game itself, it's hard to find a player, unless you're talking about jobs and money, to say which brand of baseball do you like the best. You can't find a player or a manager that would say they like the desert. I mean, they just don't. If it's a matter of jobs, you're saving jobs for a particular kind of player, a player that can't field, doesn't have a position.
Older players, maybe.
And in my mind, what those players are called and should be called are ex-players or pinch hitters. And you either put them on your bench, maybe you go to an extra player for a while on your bench, let those guys be your pinch hitters, and let your aging veterans do that. But if you can't play defense, you're not really a baseball player to me.
Vladimir Guerrero, who was an outstanding outfielder when he was in his youth, if you want to say it that way, or his prime, and had a cannon for an arm. But remember how good he was in Montreal.
Well, some players become bad defensive players because they don't let them play there anymore. I mean, I think there are a number of players you could put them at first base and say, okay, let's just play there for a couple of years and play a couple more years in your career. If your knees are bad, extend your career. I think that would work for certain players. Seen that before.
Be interesting to see the average salaries of the DHs and how they compare, you know, to some of the other positions that are out there. You're talking about guys that some of them make big money. J.J. Hardy retires Nick Punto.
But Dan, wouldn't you say if you looked at the designated hitters in the game of baseball, the 14 of them, that maybe 10 of them could play the field if they had to?
Absolutely.
So I'm not sure that it really matters for just a few guys. So I still say get rid of it. But again, I am not commissioner for the day, nor do I want the job.
It also brings up the question, guys like an Edgar Martinez, who was a terrific designated hitter. Al McRae, another one at the end of his career. Do you put those kind of players, not so much with McRae, but certainly with Martinez, in the Hall of Fame?
We'd have to find a half a player Hall of Fame.
The catch made in center field by Adam Jones. At least Rick does not have a
Truth hurts.
real hard thought about this. Isabella is at her first game. You can see that she's really enjoying it.
Pretty precocious, too, that she could actually make that sign. I just don't believe it.
3-0 in favor of the Cardinals. As Kyle Loesch goes back to work. There are a number of former players in the Hall of Fame for the Baltimore Orioles, in their Hall of Fame, not Cooperstown, but just a handful of players that have had their number retired. There's a base hit to center field for Wieters. Earl Weaver's number was retired. Brooks Robinson, Cal Ripken, Frank Robinson, Jim Palmer, and Eddie Murray. Krispy Kreme dozen deal. If the Cardinals get 9 hits tonight, you're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow to receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $2.99. Stop by one of the 4 area Krispy Kremes for that sensational deal.
There is one player in the Baltimore Orioles Hall of Fame that finished his career as a Cardinal for about 2 weeks. And I'm betting you don't know who that is, Dan. I'm going to try to see if I can bend your mind a little bit. can hear you thinking.
I'm looking. Hold on. I'm thinking about it too.
I know.
Is he a coach now?
I do not believe he is a coach now.
Dennis Martinez.
That doesn't. No, I don't. No, he played. I'm talking about a guy that played.
There's a fly ball out to left. Holiday spun around, but he'll make the catch. And Derek Lee is retired.
I'm kind of digging the fact that I know something you don't know, Dan. Doesn't happen very often. I'll give you a hint. He's a third baseman. And the answer? I'm going to hold it as you wave me off.
Really? He was there? Doug DeCinces?
Yes, he was. For about a week.
I don't remember that era.
I think he had one at bat in either 89
I do remember
or 90.
him being a part of the team. I didn't realize though he was in the
I believe he
Baltimore Hall of Fame.
I believe he played one game for the Cardinals. I knew you'd get it, Dan. It was just a matter of time and research and media guides
and reading. Yep.
Me giving you a hint.
Yeah, if he didn't give me the hint, that would have been tough. 1 ball, 1 strike. On Luke Scott, reached on an error. The shortstop Terrio, his first time up. Long look, and here's a 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. He was out in front.
The Orioles do not run very much as a team. There's the changeup from Kyle Loesch. We talked about him having finishing pitches. Really good dying action on that changeup. Now there are times when you get a bad swing like that, you'll repeat the changeup. My suggestion would be for it to be down and away a little bit more than that last one, and he might get it.
And a ground ball to Punto. Out at second, and that's a double play. 4-6-3 on the double play. First time we have been to Camden Yards in regular season play. We were here for an exhibition back in the late 90s, and then the Cardinals opened up the season in Montreal.
I'm looking for a St. Louis Brown jersey. Have not seen one yet. I gotta believe that there's somebody that is here at the ballpark that's still a fan and remembers where the Orioles came from, Dan.
St. Louis Browns. We had it back in, I think it was 2003 that the Orioles were in St. Louis. We did a flashback day, and the players are wearing uniforms from that time. Baltimore has not seen postseason play for quite some time. The 90s. Beaten in one series by the Yankees, and people always remember Jeffrey Mayer. Jeffrey Mayer, the fan in New York that reached over the wall, took a home run, and pulled it back in.
I remember former Cardinal Tito Landrum hitting a home run off of Britt Burns. White Sox, managed by Tony La Russa. If I remember correctly, Tito was a former Cardinal player, but hit a home run as an Oriole to beat Tony.
Remember Tony Tarasco? He was the outfielder at that time, and you've told me you took 3 years of your life and did not pay attention to baseball. That might have been during those 3 years.
It was.
And Tony Tarasco was going back to make the catch, and then that play was pulled, the ball was pulled over the wall by the fan, Jeffrey Mayer. 1997, Orioles lose to Cleveland in the ALCS, and then Cleveland eventually was beaten by the Florida Marlins.
I was in baseball morning at the time.
You just had to get away, huh? You'd had enough?
A couple of years, you got to get away. Got to let it settle a little bit, then come back and remember that you love it.
Adam Wainwright saying that to us the other day.
Sure did.
Here's a 3-2 pitch and a ground ball to second. John Jay is 0 for 3. Speaking of the Browns, relocated in 1954 and no World Series titles, but as the Orioles, 3.
Think of World Series titles, you think of, I think of Earl Weaver when I think of Baltimore Orioles. He was a great leader, kind of a combustible leader, you might say. Is that the right word?
Yes. It's fun to watch, though.
Oh, yeah. Hated the sacrifice bunt. One of his great mottos was, I only have 27 outs. I'm not going to give one of them to you.
Holiday is 0 for 2 on the night. Ground out, strikeout. And now he picks up his first base hit into right center. Voting now open for the All-Star game still, and you can help send your favorite Redbirds to this year's All-Star game. Vote up to 25 times, and you can do that at Cardinals.com. And you can vote early, vote now, vote often. Cardinals.com. Over at MLB.com. Stan the Man is still in the Final Four for the greatest All-Star moment. His walk-off home run in the All-Star game in the Final Four. Berkman hits that one out of play and foul. Berkman has walked tonight, also flied out to center. Here's an 0-1 pitch. 4, 6, 3, double play. So both teams have turned double plays here tonight. And we're midway through 5. It's interleague play tonight from Baltimore. Back at Camden Yards. And our AT&T trivia question: since 1946, which Cardinals team holds the record for best road batting average? 1954, they hit 270 or 280, and this season the Cardinals had 278. Redbirds have lost 6 in a row and trying to change that here tonight. First pitch by Loesch is taken for a strike. Underway in the bottom of the 5th. Saw in between innings that the head groundskeeper was out talking to our crew chief. That's never good news. Possibility of rain in the area as Theriot comes up with it and makes the play. Reynolds is 0 for 2. He's flied out to center and that ground out to short.
Better at bat for Reynolds in the second inning. He drove the ball well. He can't drive this one because it's in on his hands. Exactly what Kyle Loesch is trying to do. Talked about the wide zone. He's getting it tonight from Larry Vanover. That's the kind of zone that works well with Kyle Loesch and his style. He likes to pick at both corners, and there are times, Dan, where he gets a little upset if he's not getting pitches he thinks he deserves. And if he gets settled in and gets a comfortable strike zone, he can be very tough.
Speaking of tough, you have to be tough to play catcher in this game. There's a base hit past the diving Freeze. On the previous at bat, Reynolds on his follow through actually hit Yadier Molina on the mask. So you're seeing a guy tonight going in and out with the strike zone.
Yeah, I think that is what got Kyle Loesch off to the great start that he had the first 2 months of the season. I think June has been tough on him, giving up more home runs, Dan, in June. The numbers certainly will show you, but I think the problem with him is making pitches in the middle of the zone, and if he's not getting the corners, he feels like he has to go there. And then he gets a little frustrated and doesn't finish his pitches, doesn't get the finishing off-speed pitches that we talked about in the open, the changeup, the comfort level of being able to throw it just off the plate where he'll get a call or somebody will swing at it.
1 ball, 1 strike on J.J. Hardy. Loesch and the Cardinals would love a double play. They get the line out. How about a double play? Yes! Double play! It's a double play, and Loesch, with the help of Nick Punto, get out of the 5th. Blues Youth Hockey Camp starting July 25th at the Ice Zone at St. Louis Mills. Players ages 5 to 12 can train with the pros. To find out more, go to stlouisblues.com. Home Depot doing more on defense, and the second double play turned by the Cardinals here tonight.
And I like the way it was turned. Nick Punto had to get rid of it quickly, almost like a play at second base where he just has to catch it and throw in a hurry, and the rain has started to fall here at Camden Yards, Dan, and the heads groundkeeper, as you mentioned, Nicole Sherry, was out to talk to our umpires and warned them it's coming.
So the grounds crew, they sit where maybe a bullpen would be occupied. There's the head groundskeeper, but they're out in right center, and during the commercial break, that's where they go, right there. They were hustling in, and they are set to go.
They are poised.
Yeah, once they're whistled in. David Freese has returned to the lineup, is 2 for 2. Infield hit, also base hit out to left.
And of course, important for the Cardinals to get through that bottom of the 5th inning, so the home half had a chance to bat 5 innings, which makes this an official game no matter what happens from here.
And a 2-2 pitch. Freese waves at it and strikes out. He's 2 for 3 tonight. Right now it's just a steady rain. If it stayed like this, you'd say, well, you'd play through it.
Absolutely. There's some dark clouds to the left of us, Dan, down the left field line, and the weather appears to be coming from that direction.
Colby Rasmus has walked and scored. Also popped out to short. Check swing, strike 1.
You think about what it would have taken you as a kid, Dan, out playing in the backyard, growing up in St. Louis as an 8-year-old, let's say, or a 10-year-old. If it was raining like this, would you keep playing?
Oh, yeah.
You bet you would.
If it was pouring, we kept playing.
That's exactly right.
We loved it. This is crushed out to deep right field. Rasmus has gone deep here in Baltimore. Long home run over the tall wall and right. Don't hurt yourself out there. Nissan drive of the game for Colby Rasmus.
And it's against a left-hander, and he gets all of this. He knows it's gone, and the minute he hits it, his 7th home run of the season, he now has 30 RBI.
And a ground ball to second off the bat of Molina. Rain has certainly picked up now here in the last 20 to 30 seconds or so. You think he knew it?
Yep.
They're going to call on the grounds crew now. They're going to get the tarp on this field. And it has really started to pick up here in Baltimore. People will do anything for a souvenir. That home run makes it a 4-0 lead. As Rick told you, Colby's 7th home run now with 30 RBIs. He has a pair of runs scored tonight. Rain delay brought to you by Helitech, and it's 4-0 in favor of St. Louis. Top of the 6th with 2 outs, and the Cardinals with a 4-run lead. Dan McLaughlin, Rick Horton with you. And Rick, at this point, if you're Tony La Russa, and I'm sure Buck Showalter the other side, you get concerned about a lengthy delay with your pitchers.
Yeah, the good news is the Cardinals are ahead 4-0. The bad news is they're going to have to get more innings out of their bullpen if we get back into play, and that will be a problem for the Cardinals.
So 4-0 lead, top of the 6th. Rain delay brought to you by Helitech. Cardinals Classics on the other side. Glad you're with us tonight for interleague play from Baltimore, where the Cardinals own a 4-0 lead. Along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin and our entire Fox Sports Midwest crew. Well, it looks like both starters will be lifted from this game.
Yeah, it looks like it's the right move. It's just a little bit longer than that period of time where you say, okay, we'll keep them in. 30-minute delay, probably a little bit too strong after they both went 5+ innings. Zach Britton, a left-handed starter, just 23. I think the Orioles would want to protect him. And Tony La Russa with Kyle Lohse, 5 very strong innings from him. But Lance Lynn has been throwing in the Cardinal bullpen, and it looks like the grounds crew picked the exact right moment to talk to the umpires and get the tarp out here. We had some heavy rain, but it's gone now.
The 4 greatest moments in Major League Baseball All-Star Game history are going head-to-head, and it has a St. Louis flavor to it. You can go to MLB.com/moments and vote now for your favorite Midsummer Classics. And then tune into the All-Star Game on Tuesday, July 12th at 7, only on Fox, to find out who won. 1955, Stan the Man, his walk-off homer, is still alive. Recently beat Pete Rose, barreling into Ray Fosse, the All-Star Game, to advance into the Final 4. And again, you can vote at MLB.com/moments. Do it right now and vote for Stan the Man. That'd be great to see him get even more national recognition.
The Carl Hubble thing, that was pretty neat, but Stan Musial, he's our guy.
Absolutely. So this is Rapata, and our Chevy called to the bullpen, a lefty. Zach Britton, the starter for the Orioles, his final line is 5 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, all earned. He walked 2, 3 strikeouts, 90 pitches. And like you said, Rick, it looks like Kyle Lohse's night is through. And he looked very effective here tonight. Clay Rapata, that's a look at his numbers.
Yeah, he obviously has a high earned run average. He's the second left-hander out of this bullpen. Michael Gonzalez, the former National Leaguer, is the shorter left-handed guy. Kyle Lohse, again, job well done for him. I am intrigued by the fact that he's still in the dugout, though.
Only 69 pitches.
But getting the high 5s, you'd have to say that means no moss for Kyle Lohse. Low pitch count. I guess the good news is you had a nice outing from him, and maybe when he comes back, he can be fresh in his next outing.
And Lance Lynn, last time that we saw him, it was an extended outing coming from the bullpen, and pitched very well.
Lance Lynn gives you something in the Cardinal bullpen that they haven't had in the last 2 to 3 weeks, and that's a long man that you feel good about being out there for 3 innings. Miguel Batista was kind of that guy early on, but just wasn't able to keep up that level of performance, and Lance Lynn seems to be the kind of guy that can give you some deep innings in the bullpen.
And here is Hamilton as Lynn is getting loose in the bullpen. Temperature has dropped off considerably after the rain, and today it was extremely muggy here in Baltimore. 28-minute rain delay, and our crowd is 20,556, 20556.
Dan, you and I both thought that 30 minutes might be a short enough delay to keep your starter in. It's kind of right on the edge, and that's exactly where we are with this 28-minute delay. If the starters had only gone 3 innings, I think we would see both of them back.
Britton was at 90 pitches, Lohse at 69. And Hamilton strikes out. That ends the top of the 6th. Cardinals on top, and it looks like Tony's headed to the bullpen. What's on Tap is brought to you by Budweiser. Chris Carpenter coming off a tremendous outing, 2-7 this year. Chris Jakubakis is the starter for the Orioles. Jakubaskas. we'll have some fun with that tomorrow. He's 2-0. Lance Lynn is in for St. Louis. It's our Chevy call to the pen.
Lynn's done a nice job since getting recalled from Memphis. Again, was conditioned really throughout his minor league career to be a starter, but really figures to be kind of a long man, middle man in the big leagues, at least at first. Maybe somewhere down the road he'll get a chance of cracking this rotation, but right now Cardinals need him to be the guy that can pitch some important innings in the 6th and 7th inning especially.
So Lance Lynn takes over for Kyle Lohse. 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs by Kyle, and he struck out 2. Nick Markakis will lead it off.
ERA went down to 2.78 for Kyle Lohse, which jumps him about 3 spots in the National League. Now he's at 6th position as far as earned run average is concerned. And we're talking about all-stars. He wins this game, that's 8. Chance to win a couple more games. Not out of the question for Kyle Lohse to be a National League all-star.
Baltimore, a franchise that has not made it to postseason play since 1997. Davey Johnson, 2nd and final season as manager. Davey Johnson now very familiar with this area, and he takes over the Washington Nationals. Good pitch and a strikeout that catches the corner.
And that's a pretty good hitter, Markakis, that Lance Lynn took care of. Markakis, by the way, with a hit today, now has 166 straight series where he has at least 1 hit. There's the Cardinals bullpen.
Adam Jones will be the hitter now.
Think about how hard that is to do. 166 straight series. That's a different kind of hit streak. You don't hear about that an awful lot. But Markakis, the highest streak in all of baseball. That's about a 3-year period. It's got to be.
And Ricky, think about in some series, you don't play in one of the games, so now you're talking about at least getting a hit in either game 1 or 2 or whatever the case may be.
You get walked a couple of times and go 0 for 2, then go 0 for 4 the next game, sit the next game, and there goes that streak.
It's amazing. 0-2 the count. Adam Jones is flied out to right, and he's also walked. 4-0 Redbirds here in the bottom of the 6th. That's right down the middle. Strikeout number 2 for Lance Lynn. If you have a Cardinal baseball, then don't miss discounted Cardinals tickets from Phillips 66 Gas when you fill up with 10 gallons or more. For complete details, stop by your local station or visit cardinals.com/Phillips66.
I'm ready to bet you an awful lot that Vladimir Guerrero doesn't get called out on strikes.
How about his career? He's now 94th all-time the hits list. 2,504 for his outstanding career. What Rick is saying, folks, is that Vladdy likes to swing.
He wakes up in the morning swinging the bat.
I saw him in Montreal actually take one off the ground, bounced to the plate. He picked it and picked up a base hit. There's a hit into right field. The career numbers for Vladimir Guerrero: .318 average, 442 home runs, over 1,400 RBIs. Came in with 33 strikeouts this year, only 9 walks. Here's Matt Wieters. Lynn is going right after these hitters.
Throwing a lot of strikes, and the Orioles taking a lot of pitches, almost as if they had a scouting report. Lynn doesn't throw strikes, make him work, and all he's doing is pumping down fastballs right at the knees and getting a lot of called strikes.
Wieters 1 for 2 with a single.
Hey, pitching's a lot easier when they don't swing the bat.
It's right down the middle. little movement.
The danger happens when they start swinging it.
Lance Lynn, really an interesting prospect for the Cardinals, because at the end of last year, and really about this time to the end of last year, he decided just to let it loose, Rick, and he said, my velocity all of a sudden went up. I changed the kind of pitcher I'm going to be. And he said it was one of those times where he said, look, it's on me to make this my career, and I'm going to do what I think right now might be my best bet.
There was a definite impression with Lynn early on that he was a pitcher who was short on velocity. Big guy, strong guy. You'd think he would throw hard, but you know, he was 90-ish, which they didn't think was enough. That one was 94.
Strikes out the side. Nick Punto leads it off into 7th when we come back. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. They have changed the game, located at Lumiere Place Casino and Hotels. By Taco Bell, right now offering $20 admission vouchers to Live Nation concerts. And by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. No standing in this area, but means nothing to those brave fans here in Baltimore.
They're just being defiant, aren't they? Look at them. They're laughing about it. Yeah, see that sign? Oh, one's a Cardinal fan. Oh, sir, I'm sorry, it didn't.
Right on cue.
Oh, oops. Sorry, sir. I'm from St. Louis. I didn't know. We caught him.
And they're making Gallagher go back to his seat.
No standing means no standing.
Next thing you know, he's going to start smashing watermelons. 2 balls and 1 strike. It's a 4-0 lead for the Cardinals. This is Nick Punto. Tom Mee, our director, caught that, and then right on cue, no standing. If it says no standing, there's no standing. That's all there is to it, Rick.
I think it's great that Tom was able to catch an infraction like that, and
yes,
and order was restored.
You feel better.
I feel better.
You know, when you have 20,000 people, then maybe what, 12,000 after a rain delay still here. You don't want to block anybody's view. 3-2 the count here on Nick Punto. Punto reaching for it, a fly ball into right center, and it gets past Jones. Punto, as that ball goes all the way to the wall, on his way to third, and he is safe, diving in head first. The normally sure-handed Adam Jones. That ball just carried on him a little bit.
I think that was poorly played by Adam Jones. He really got a bad read on that. He has 5 errors this year. You talk about him being a Gold Glover, but 5 errors means he's struggling a bit with the glove, and he just did not really react to this ball well. Carried way deeper than he thought it would, kind of gliding on it, and then whoops, I'm running out of room here. He should have caught that ball.
Nick Punto safe at third. Safe and secure, New York life. Now the infield is drawn in for Baltimore. The pickoff play, and Punto is back in safely.
You mentioned the arm of Matt Wieters. You're a catcher with a good arm, you like to show it off.
Eight out of 13 times runner is scored in this spot for Theriot.
And with nobody out here, Dan, for Nick Punto, the runner at third, this should almost be a one-way lead anyway. He's got to wait to see the ball get through the infield. The Orioles playing with the infield in. There's going to be very few balls you're going to be able to score on if it's in the infield. So all you're thinking about is just holding tight, making sure the ball gets hit through the infield, and of course if it's deep enough for a sacrifice fly, tag up. But really, he's got to be careful not to take a chance with nobody out. One out, maybe.
2-1 pitch inside. Theriot with a base hit RBI back in the second. And he chops it to short. Hardy backhands with time and makes the play. For Nick Punto, really no need to chance that, knowing that you only have one out now. Frustration for Ryan Theriot.
Now, slightly different situation. Punto, the runner at third, can get a little bigger lead, maybe take a chance on the ball, maybe hit just like that. The ball was hit softly in the infield. The infield, of course, is in, but if it's hit softly, you might take a chance, get a little bigger lead. Maybe go on contact.
Jon Jay is 0 for 3 tonight. If you're just joining us, the Cardinals in the second inning had 3 consecutive hits with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. They jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Then Colby Rasmus with a solo home run, a long home run into right. And that's all the scoring so far. 4-0 lead, 1 ball, 1 strike. And Jay gets the fly ball out to left. Punto will tag up. No throw, and it's 5-0 St. Louis. Jon Jay with the RBI, his 18th. That's simply just putting the bat on the ball.
Situational hitting. Man on third base. Get him in somehow. Fly ball to the outfield usually does the trick. Not even a throw from the left fielder. A bit surprised by that. At least make it look interesting. Ball not hit that deeply by Jon Jay, but again, RBI producing.
We'll have a pitching change when we come back, and the Cardinals have a 5-run lead. Cardinals with a 5-run lead. Game 1 of this road trip. And we remind you, StubHub is where you can find the seats you want to all the games. The official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals.
Matt Holliday will face the new Oriole reliever, Jason Birkin. Holliday's 1 for 3. There's the numbers on Birkin. .320 opponent batting average. Not the number you want to see.
And here is Matt Holliday. I want to remind you, we'll get back on the 4th of July and Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday against the Reds. There are terrace and pavilion level seats as this is well hit left center field, and that ball is gone over the wall, and it's a home run for Matt Holliday. Birkin, welcome to the game with that solo shot off the bat of Holliday. 6-0 St. Louis.
Well, I thought we'd see some home runs in this game, Dan. The Cardinals now with 2 of them. Rasmus a home run in the 6th inning, and now Matt Holliday with 2 outs in the 7th. Ball carrying pretty well to left center field. That pitch high and in, and he gets on top of it. That's a nice welcome, as you say.
The mislocation at this level, guys like Holliday don't miss it, do they?
I think of him as a guy, that ball's almost fair, isn't it? Off the bat of Berkman. Might have hit the catcher prior. If you think of Holliday as a hitter, Dan, he may have missed location there on him, but Holliday's a pretty good low ball hitter. So I think there's some school of thought that you're supposed to be able to get him out up, but clearly that didn't work there.
The 2-1.
Birkin has now allowed 6 home runs in 23 innings of work. It's a tough league.
2-2 the count. And Berkman stays away from the breaking ball down and in. Lance tonight is flied out to center. Also grounded into a 4-6-3 double play and a walk. And he draws a 2-out walk. In steps David Freese. Before I was rudely interrupted by that home run off the bat of Holiday. It's going to tell our fans, Rick, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Cincinnati in town. So the rivalry heats up again. And there are $9 seats available. Terrace level seats for only $9. And the pavilion seats are $20 for all 3 of those games. Monday is a 5:15 first pitch, so come on down, and after that you can stay for the fireworks on the riverfront. But again, $9 terrace level seats, $20 pavilion level seats, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all next week against the Reds.
And it's going to be a nice homestand leading into the All-Star break. Cincinnati, then Arizona. And where will the Cardinals be on July 10th? All-Star break begins that day. Open date on the 11th. All-Star games on the 12th. Cardinals resume play on the road in Cincinnati on the 15th, and I'd like to see the Cardinals within a couple games. Don't get too worried about the standings, but you don't want to be 6 games out either.
Nice inning for St. Louis as they add to their lead. RBI for Jay and a solo home run for Holiday. It's time to stretch here in Baltimore. Cardinals with the lead, and we remind you, because of this 6-run lead, you can go in tomorrow all day, 25-cent drinks at On the Run at Mobile. That's any 20-ounce coffee, fountain, or frozen drink for just $0.25. And we're serious at On the Run at Mobile.
So far, a nice start for the Cardinals, Dan, but you have to finish the job.
And Lance Lynn struck out the side in his first inning of work. David Freese back in the lineup tonight, contributed with a pair of hits, and now Daniel Descalso takes over at third with his 6-run lead. Get the impression, Rick, we'll probably see a lot of that late innings.
Yeah.
And it's twofold. You get the defense of Descalso, which is very, very good. Not to say that David Freese is not, but you got to try and buy an inning or two when you can to give him a rest.
Got him 4 at-bats. He got a couple of hits. So good news for David Freese all the way around. But I think that's right. Just kind of take your gains. Got to know when to fold them. Isn't that a song?
2-2. It's Kenny Rogers, if memory serves correct.
Certainly is. Not the pitcher.
2-2 pitch. And a ground ball to short. Terrio makes the play. Al's got a little bit of that Kenny Rogers look going right now.
He sure does.
I told him that the other day, and he said, no, I'm Kenny's father. Come on, Al.
I wish I'd have been in on that conversation.
And Al is coming up on the post-game show following game 1 here in Baltimore.
And hopefully there'll be good news to talk about. A little preview of Chris Carpenter, perhaps.
It's going to be, I think, a real interesting sidebar for tomorrow to see how Carpenter responds after back-to-back starts of 120 or more pitches.
Good starts, at least. But went deep in the game, as you mentioned.
And as Tony mentioned, and it makes a lot of sense, obviously, with no pitcher in this lineup. There's Tony Cruz, who's been behind the plate. Carpenter's on the mound, but you have the DH in play here in interleague play in these American League parks, so it becomes even tougher to go through a lineup.
Carpenter definitely going in the right direction. Got a lot of positive vibes with him. Jim Palmer, we talked about him earlier, said he saw Chris Carpenter's last start and he said, wow, his stuff was unbelievable. Ball was moving all over the place. He's unhittable. And I think Carpenter's feeling that. So he'll be tough on the Orioles tomorrow for sure.
Here's a 1-2 pitch and a swing and a miss after Luke Scott had words of the home plate umpire, he's doing so again.
Speaking of tough on the Orioles, how about Lance Lynn? That's 4 strikeouts now in an inning and 2/3. And a lot of them, he's just kind of rearing back and letting it go. Here, hit it. Good movement, up and away.
Here's Mark Reynolds. Fly to center, also grounded out to short. For a young pitcher, certainly an outing like this would give him a lot of confidence from here on out. And with him being a starter in the past, now as the long relief man, you know, Lance Lynn could finish this game and you save your bullpen.
Not only do you save your bullpen, but you also raise the bar for the other guys in the bullpen and remind them that this is how it's done. You got a new guy that just came up that wasn't good enough to make your team out of spring training. Things start to go in the wrong direction. People start to doubt themselves, struggle a little bit in the bullpen, and then you got a guy that you know wasn't as good as you are that's coming up here and making it look easy. I think that's a plus for the Cardinal bullpen. The rest of the guys say, hey, why are we making this so tough? We know we can get this job done. Let's go do it.
Just enough of that late action on his pitch there to get away with it. The pitch was up. But Dave Duncan certainly has to be happy with what he's seen so far.
From Brownsburg, Indiana. Didn't know Kent Bottenfield growing up, but he knew Bill Sampin and took pitching lessons from him. Big league pitcher. Bill Sampin, who pitched with Montreal. He said he took some lessons from him. Bill's still a coach in that area. Kent, of course, has moved on, and now he's a recording artist. Living, I believe, in Memphis.
How about this guy? Lance Lynn, 5 strikeouts. Sonic game recap, and Loesch, 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs. Zach Britton, 5 2/3, 7 hits, 4 earned runs. Colby Rasmus, solo home run in the 6th, and Holiday, a solo home run here in the 7th. Here's Colby Rasmus.
Dan, the Cardinals took care of a pretty good starting pitcher here. Not somebody that maybe a lot of people know about, Zach Britton, but his numbers were outstanding. Has a great career ahead of him, just 23 years of age, and the Cardinals hit him pretty well.
If you're Buck Showalter, outside of winning games and dealing with young players, what do you think the toughest part of his job is? Competing in the American League East and all but knowing that the honest truth is, you know, Boston and New York are going to be in it, and they're going to spend the most money and more than anybody else. So how tough do you think that is for him?
It's very tough for him, and it really is one of his main jobs, is to convince his team not to worry about that and just think about what we have to do to win ball games. You know, Tampa Bay did that a couple years ago. I think Joe Madden's been able to convince those guys that, you know, you just go out and play and do your work and don't worry about the Yankees, don't worry about the Red Sox, just be good. And I think Tampa Bay has shown that they can compete.
Andy McPhail right there. Charge along with Buck Showalter and trying to guide this team in the right direction. Mid-80s, he was with Minnesota. We saw him with Chicago. Now here with Baltimore. The pitch is taken up and in by Yadier Molina.
Classic question. You know, as fans and as people that cover the sports, Dan, we're always talking about the matchups and the other teams and et cetera. But as an athlete competing at this level, if you're worried about the other guy, you're worried about the wrong thing.
No doubt.
So a manager's job is to make sure you don't.
And then there's reality.
Oh, I agree.
You know, and the reality is when a team is going to spend $200 million and you don't, they are allowed to miss on some players, make mistakes, but still have enough in the tank to spend on players that aren't misses, the Sabathias, the Teixeiras, and the guys that they've developed, and keep them.
But as a player, if you are even conscious of what the Yankees payroll is, you're thinking about the wrong thing.
Totally agree.
I would doubt they even know it. I mean, I hope they wouldn't.
Well, Tony La Russa and the Cardinals rolling here tonight 6-0 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and easy drinking Bush Light. By Bank of America, where ATM deposits are as easy as an infield fly. No deposit slip, no envelope with Bank of America, member FDIC. And by AT&T. One of the stories here in Baltimore tonight, the relief appearance of Lance Lynn. 2 innings of work, and he strikes out 5. And now the Cardinals, with a 6-run lead, will turn it over to Ryan Franklin.
And I think it's an interesting choice to go to Ryan Franklin here in the 8th inning, and I'm not sure it's the choice that either one of us would have expected Tony La Russa to do. He does have a 6-run cushion here. Ryan Franklin obviously has struggled this season, and it's a bit of a gamble here using him in a game you're trying to finish out. You've got, again, the 6-run lead. I'm sure the leash won't be too long for him, but it's an opportunity for him to pitch in a game where the team's winning, and we'll see if he can get back on track. He does have the bottom of the order for the Orioles. What are the other choices? You could go to Mott, you could go to Boggs, but Ryan Franklin is the choice.
And Dino, Hardy, Markakis, 9-1-2 in their lineup. Last time that Ryan Franklin was on the mound, he had a scoreless first inning. Then second inning rolled in at Busch Stadium, and he did give up a home run in that appearance. Any pitcher will tell you, though, Rick, as you well know, you need to get work. And we've talked about numbers for Franklin, lack of appearances, but you're trying to find ways to get him work in games like this.
Well, again, it's a two-edged sword. I mean, you need work, but you need to earn the work you get.
Ripped out to left, but Holiday is there to make the catch.
So you produce in the work that you get, then you get even more work. And that's just the way the bullpen works. It's the way it's worked since the beginning of time. You know, nobody's going to just be only concerned about one particular pitcher out in the bullpen. There's 6 or 7 guys out there you're trying to keep sharp, and Franklin's one of them. I don't think one of the original thoughts that I think Tony La Russa may have had about Ryan Franklin, and others may have, that perhaps he could become kind of a longer guy in the bullpen, maybe the guy that can come in the 5th, 6th, 7th, pitch 3 innings, but kind of shown, Dan, that he's had problems, as you said, in the 2nd inning when he goes back out, even after having a clean inning. So, you know, perhaps Cardinals may be switching that up a bit and saying we need to start thinking about him as a 1-inning pitcher as opposed to a long man.
Yeah, good point. J.J. Hardy 4 for 9 in his career against Ryan Franklin with a strikeout. And here's an 0-2 pitch.
So it may be why you're not using Boggs in this game, because you've already used a long man in Lynn today. You wouldn't hope to need one tomorrow with Chris Carpenter, but you also have rain issues the next couple of days here in Baltimore you may have to contend with. So you better be smart the way you use your bullpen.
On 1-2, the next to J.J. Hardy. 2-2. Hardy tonight is struck out, grounded out, and hit into a double play. Kyle Lohse tonight trying to have his bullpen hold on to pick up his 8th win of the year. Count goes from 0-2 now to full.
And speaking of the Cardinal bullpen, Dan, just in general, I like the balance now of having 3 left-handers in the bullpen. Not that they're all stoppers and closers and solid necessarily 8th inning guys, but you've got 3 of them. And what I said out of spring training when the Cardinals got Valdez, I thought it might be an opportunity for them to have 3 left-handers, so you don't have too much stress on one guy having to be the guy every night. And the Cardinals were forced into that when Brian Talek got hurt. I think it really snowballed Trevor Miller's season in the wrong direction.
This is hit in the air to left center field, and that ball is gone. It's a home run.
Location on this pitch, has to throw a strike, and it is right down the middle. Velocity not really an issue with Ryan Franklin. That at 92, not any different than what we've seen from him. It's movement and location.
Home run for Hardy, his 11th of the year. Nick Markakis, the double back in the first. He's grounded out and struck out.
And that's home run number 9 given up by Ryan Franklin. In just 28 innings of work.
He had Hardy at 0-2. And now 1-2 on Nick Markakis.
The finishing pitch for Ryan Franklin. That's what he's had trouble with.
Three and 2.
0-2 to 3-2 again.
In the back of Tony La Russa's mind, if he reaches and you've got big bats coming up, the heart of this lineup, you would have to think it wouldn't be a very long leash for Ryan Franklin. 3-2 pitch. Ground ball. Foul. Right now the bullpen is quiet.
And now you're talking about the tough part of the order for the Orioles. And Markakis and Jones and Guerrero.
Markakis to left field for a base hit. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Fernando Salas is up.
You know, Dan, I really feel for Ryan Franklin because clearly the game is not fun right now for him. He's used to being the guy as early as last year that was one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball in terms of save percentage, right around 90%, up among the league leaders the last 3 years. And this year he just cannot get on track, and everything he's tried has gone the other direction. Talked about wanting to get out there because he thought he found a flaw. Thought he could get back on track, but we've seen a line drive and a home run and another line drive.
Adam Jones flying out to right. He has walked and also struck out. Short lead at first for Nick Markakis. 6-1 St. Louis. And that pitch is taken for a ball. That's a base hit into right. Markakis being all the way, waved all the way in. He will score. And it's 6-2.
Markakis with a good jump. Hits the inside of the bag at second, inside of the bag at third. And we're very close to having ourselves a ball game right here.
Tony La Russa will go to his bullpen. That'll be it for Ryan Franklin here tonight. Runner at second base and Vladimir Guerrero coming up. So the Cardinals turn to Fernando Salas. And instead of this being a night where he may not pitch, it's coming into a ball game here that could be very interesting with one swing of the bat.
Yeah, now he's got some extended work here as well coming in the 8th inning. And Salas has not had a very good month of June himself. He's been okay, but not as good as his first 2 months. And you just really feel for Ryan Franklin.
Runner at second base, Adam Jones. And here is Vladimir Guerrero. Guerrero with a base hit in the 6th. He's grounded out 2 other times. 6-2 St. Louis.
Guerrero thinking RBI, not walk.
Cliff Lee, his 3rd straight complete game shutout tonight. He has been unbelievable.
Watch out, Oral Hershiser.
2 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. He's now 9-5 with a 2.66 ERA. Cliff Lee at 32 straight scoreless innings. That was off against the Boston Red Sox tonight. Phillies won that game 5-0. 1 ball, 1 strike on Vladimir Guerrero. Rounder to short. Terrio makes the play.
Not a safe situation for Fernando Salas, but the game clearly inching closer to being on the line here as he's facing the middle of the order in the 8th inning, where the Orioles are starting to put something together against the Cardinal bullpen. And we've mentioned already, Dan, the job that Lance Lynn did, but I still want to focus some more on that. He was just so good, and that is such good news to have a hot Cardinal reliever like Lance Lynn.
High fly ball that'll stay in the ballpark. Off the bat of Wieters. Good work by Salas. 6-2 as we head to the ninth.
Six-2 Cardinals as we go to the 9th in Baltimore. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Pat Paris and Cal Eldred are back in the studio. The reinforcements come up big. Kyle Lohse breaks his interleague jinx, plus another edition of Tony TV. Nick Punto leads off for the Cardinals, and we go back to the booth. And Dan and Rick, guys.
All right, Jim, thank you. Nick Punto back in this lineup along with David Freese, and it's been good to see. And the first pitch to Punto, taken for a ball.
He had a couple of hits right-handed, now batting from the left side against Birkin.
And he hits a high fly ball into left field. Luke Scott makes the catch.
Does he remind you a little bit of a Aaron Miles with a little more ability? Is that how you would describe? Does that make sense to you?
His size is the same.
Yeah.
They both can run a little bit. Switch hitters.
Versatile players.
Yeah, definitely.
But Punto, a much better defensive player, and maybe not as good a pitcher as Aaron Miles.
Especially with the arm injury.
That's right.
That will not happen. Nick Punto will not be pitching. At least let's hope that never happens. Here's Ryan Theriot. Third of an inning for Ryan Franklin here tonight. 3 hits, 2 runs. Gave up a home run. Both runs were earned. Cardinals had to go to Salas. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike on Ryan Theriot.
And you know, Dan, everybody's entitled to their own reaction to how they feel about Ryan Franklin and how they feel about his performance, but kind of just makes me feel sick is what it does. I just feel so bad for that guy because I know how much a gamer he is. I know how hard he works, and I am not defending his performance at all, but I just feel bad for him. I know he's struggling, even probably wanting to be on the mound right now. And that's just a tough place to be as a professional athlete.
Nice play. Derek Lee takes a hit away from his former teammate in Chicago, Ryan Theriot.
Very good fielding first baseman. Making it look easy. Reaction. And no panic.
Here's John Jay with a 4-run lead for St. Louis. 2 outs, nobody on. Look back in that 7th inning, and Jay's RBI along with the home run by Holiday really loom large to give this team some insurance here in this 9th inning. A ball and a strike. And Jay picks up a base hit out to center. See Matt Holliday at least one more time tonight.
John Jay doesn't give at-bats away. Always has good at-bats. Feel the same way about Nick Punto. And it makes me think of the great Pete Rose, what he used to say about the difference between hitting 250 and 300 is that 1 at-bat a week where you don't mail in your at-bat in an 8-2 game or late in the game or you're tired and you just go in and have a quality at-bat when it's hard to focus. That's the difference. 1 hit a week is the difference between batting 300 and 250.
I asked Hal McRae when he was the hitting coach of the Cardinals. I said, does Pujols remind you of anybody you played with or seen? He said 1 guy, Pete Rose.
I could see that.
And because of what you just said, he said he never, ever gives an at-bat away. Doesn't matter the score. He said now when you look at the 2 players, they're clearly not the same, but the mindset is.
And what goes into not giving an at-bat away, because people may say, well, why should they give a bat away? They're in the big leagues. They're supposed, but over the course of a year, these guys get mentally drained, and it's kind of easy to think, okay, with 6-2, 9th inning, you know, we got this wrapped up, which they don't, by the way, but it'd be easy to start thinking that way and lose your focus and start thinking about something else. And you know, these guys are pretty strong mentally, but they're also human.
Holiday's home run earlier tonight, his 10th of the year, and in limited playing time this year because of injuries, missed nearly a month. He still has had 40 RBIs. Lance Berkman leads the team with 54. The 1-2 pitch. 2-2. The 2-2. Holiday rips it foul.
His hands are so fast, Dan, and we get a pretty good view here at Camden Yards. Some stadiums we are much higher than we are here, and we're a little bit closer to the field here at Camden, and you really get a feel for how quick the batters are with their hands. You only have about a half a second to swing once the pitcher releases the ball.
2-2 is hit out to deep left field. It's at the wall, and that ball is caught. What a play by Luke Scott in left field. Wow, what a play by Scott in left. This day in history brought to you by Schnucks. Thanks to 2 Arizona errors in the bottom of the ninth. The Cardinals win 6-5 at Busch Stadium back in the 2010 season. What a tremendous play there by Luke Scott to end the top of the ninth. Wow, what a play.
You said early in the game, Dan, this kind of ballpark where outfielders can really show their defensive ability, can rob some home runs, and well, you predicted it. That was outstanding.
And that wasn't the kind of play, Rick, that you could go back, get next to the wall, and time your jump. I mean, that was a line drive, almost home run by Holiday, and he's running full speed and has to jump and get it at the perfect time.
Would have been Holiday's second home run of the game. Luke Scott actually, after he hit the wall, was kind of having trouble walking back in, as if he hurt his back a bit. Kind of doubled over. And there he is, jumping, diving into the wall.
It's one of the best plays we've seen all year.
And we're not going to see him back.
Blake Davis has moved to the on-deck circle in Luke Scott's spot. As Rick told you, he's coming off the field. You didn't see it during the break, obviously, but he was limping, very slow to get up, and then eventually was able to trot, but barely off the field.
I noticed the pitcher waited till he got all the way in because he gave up his body for the pitcher right there.
Strikeout of Derek Lee. Good pitch by Salas. And he's calmed things down now for the Cardinals. Gotten the last 3 outs.
Couple more outs and you've started this road trip in the right fashion. Cardinals have lost 3 straight games, just 3 games over 500, 3 games out of first place. Needed to kind of right the ship a bit, and we've seen good offense from the Redbirds. They hit a pretty tough starter in Zach Britton. Now Sal is trying to finish what Kyle Lowe started.
Blake Davis went 4 for 7 with a walk in 2 games against Cincinnati over the weekend. His first major league hit and RBI on Friday night. Carolina League All-Star in 2007 and a 4th round pick in 2006.
And I may be getting older, Dan, which I am. But some of these players are looking like they're about 16, and he'd be one of them.
Where's Brad Thompson?
That's a good question. He signed with Kansas City, I believe, in the offseason. Certainly not on their roster. I'll have to look him up. I'll get my staff right on.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
And I'm sure wherever he is, he still looks 16.
There is a strikeout for Salas. Well, we had a rain delay in this game, and because of that, Kyle Loesch only pitched 5 innings, and then after that it was Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn, all he did was come in for 2 innings, and he struck out 5. He's our Budweiser player of the game. 2 innings, 1 hit, 5 strikeouts. Lance Lynn, the Budweiser player of the game. Here's Mark Reynolds, the final hope tonight for the Baltimore Orioles. Felix PA has moved to the on-deck circle. Pitch backs up for a strike. Mark Reynolds, University of Virginia product.
Oh, is he?
That'll be the only reference the next 2 nights.
We'll see about that.
From me, put it that way. I'm sure it'll be
I just wanted
coming from you all weekend or all week.
I just wanted you to be the first one to say it.
I did it. I got it out of the way for you. 2-1 the count.
We talked about how good Lynn was, and of course he's the player of the game, but Fernando Salas has been good too. A couple of important outs in the 8th inning, 2 strikeouts to start the night, 1 pitch away from striking out the side here in the 9th inning, and fans getting into it. Couldn't tell if those were Cardinal fans or Oriole fans. There's a mixture of both.
Game extended with a walk.
Dan, as so often happens on the road, the Cardinal fans that are here at the ballpark, I saw so many of them in the Inner Harbor today walking around. So many Cardinal fans have made the trip here, or East Coast Cardinal fans have decided to come to the ballpark here. And what happens a lot on the road, our experience is the Cardinal fans get excited about a win, and it kind of makes the home team kind of mad that somebody's cheering in their ballpark.
No doubt.
So they have the kind of reverse. They start to get back in it and start cheering in the other direction, and it's all in fun.
The place that was unbelievable to me was when we'd go to Montreal, it'd be empty, but the amount of Cardinal fans that were there,
No doubt.
in Montreal. One ball, 1 strike.
And they're all represent.
Brad Thompson played with the Royals last year. They sent him to AAA in spring training. He refused that assignment. Now a free agent, we understand. One-two pitch, a ground ball that's foul. PA just got a piece. Another 1-2 pitch. Another 1-2 pitch. Bouncer right side. Nick Punto makes the play. The Cardinals hold on for the win, 6-2.
Nice way to start a road trip. The Cardinals really did everything well today. Good starting pitching, good at the end of the game, and Salas. Lynn was outstanding. And the 2 home runs we saw today were big ones as well. Rasmus and Matt Holliday almost had a second.
We've got the post-game show coming up. 6-2 our final.
Game is over with a Cardinal win in Baltimore. Cal Elder and I here breaking it down on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Cal, a much needed win.
A needed win when you head out on a road trip, and whenever you're headed to the American League East, if you can win that first ball game on the road trip, huge win.
More from the righty coming up. Plus, after a forgettable homestand, the Cardinals hit the road for 3 games in one of baseball's best parks. We'll break down the Cardinals' first ever regular season game in Baltimore. Plus, Kyle Lohse and interleague play have not been a good mix, but he's able to break the AL curse tonight. We'll take you back to Baltimore for a Cardinal player reaction. Tony La Russa's post-game thoughts as well. Plus, what does having David Freese and Nick Punto back mean? We'll go inside the numbers. Cal, what'd you sing at the American Idol tryouts this morning?
I'm Too Sexy by Right Said Fred.
I don't think so. There'll be an encore performance coming up on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
Welcome to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
Cardinals getting back to what they did best the first 2 months, and that's deliver with 2 outs. They did it in the second inning to the tune of 3 straight hits, 3 straight RBIs. They take a 3-0 lead and never look back. 6-2 the final in Baltimore. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside our Fox Sports Midwest studio in St. Louis for the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, alongside a man who had a career 4-1 record at Camden Yards. You love that place, Cal.
I love pitching there.
That's Cal Eldred. I'm Pat Paris. Coming up, getting you back to Baltimore for Cardinal player reaction, Tony TV as well. Plus, we'll break down Kyle Lohse's night and a not-so-memorable moment from Big Mac's 1998 home run chase. Before we get to all that, though, this offense, well, throughout this 12 losses in 15 games coming into tonight, Cal, the offense struggled, the starting pitching struggled, the bullpen struggled. All of it seemed to get right with the exception of Ryan Franklin tonight.
Yeah, with the exception of Ryan, everything went very smooth. You got the good start from Lohse right out of the gate, throwing strikes, great fastball command. You also had 2-strike hitting, driving in runs with 2 strikes. That's what the offense has been doing all year. Everything started clicking, and even the bullpen for the most part, especially Salas coming in and finishing it up. And
don't forget, we want your comments via Twitter. The tweet is on. Send us your questions and comments about the Cardinals via Twitter at FSMidwest, and we're going to answer some of those during tonight's postgame show. Let's get right back to Camden Yards now. Jim Hayes moments ago catching up with Nick Punto, our Mid-America Chevrolet Dealers player of the game. Cat?
Nick Punto returns to the Cardinals. A couple of hits in this one, an RBI, and also a run scored, and you guys get a big win. It's nice to come back and get a win, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. It's, you know, we've been struggling a little bit to come in here, play a game on the road, tough environment, and get that first win is big.
I know you and David were talking about jumping right in and contributing right away. You both did that.
Yeah, it felt good. Yeah, you know, that's a long time off, 6 weeks. I know David was out at least that, and you know, it's nice to come out here and be able to contribute.
When you come back from an injury like this, do you have to kind of hold it back a little bit because you're so excited? Maybe the engine's revving a little too fast?
Yeah, I mean, you probably should, but I don't know that speed. So I just, you know, I feel good. My arm feels good, and we'll just keep going.
You told me on your last rehab game, you made a tough diving play and a strong throw. You said once you pass that test, you realize you're ready to go.
Yeah, I think that got me over the hump, knowing that my arm felt good and was able to
that hurt
to go. Yeah, that didn't feel too good. That's a big boy, Murph.
So you're ready to go. Once you did that, you knew you were ready to go, and you did it tonight. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, that's Nick Punto. We send it back to you guys.
Jim, thank you. Your boy Murph getting Nick Punto at the end, probably getting him ready during BP as well tonight.
And as you watch Nick Punto throw BP, he's doing what most good hitters do, serve it the other way early in BP, and in the second inning, right out of the gate, off the DL, he serves one over the second baseman's head for an RBI single. Then he does the same thing on a very tough pitch, down and away in the seventh, over Adam Jones's head for a triple, which he seems to be doing a lot of this year. We'd like to see more of it with him being healthy.
Absolutely. He hasn't played a whole lot of games. That's already his third triple of the year. He did it with the glove. He mentioned that he knew he passed the test with a dive and strong throw during his rehab. Well, certainly some nice work tonight with a couple of double plays.
And this is a real quick flip to Terrio. Makes it very easy for Ryan to make a timely throw to first base and then make a line drive here off the back foot. That's the test of the arm. Off the back foot, side arm, flipping it to first in time to turn 2.
And he passes all the tests tonight for sure. Let's get back to the broadcast booth at Camden Yards in Baltimore. Dan McLaughlin and Ricky Horton rejoin us for a view from the booth after this 6-2 win. Guys?
Yeah, the Cardinals pitching staff collectively 9 strikeouts here tonight, but some faces back in the lineup really made a difference.
Yeah, good pitching, but it was nice to see those 2 right-handers back in the lineup. And we'll begin with David Freese. He's been out an awful long time, and his contribution started early on. This is just an infield hit, but he does get another good hit with another good at-bat later, so he ends up with a couple of hits. Nick Punto, as Cal mentioned, 2 hits of his own, both line drives. This one in the right center field gap. The second one was a triple, so their presence was felt here in Game 1. Great way to start a road trip.
Lance Lynn in relief of Kyle Loesch, very good. Salas in relief of Franklin, very good. And the Cardinals win game number 1. Chris Carpenter going tomorrow night. We'll talk about that later in the show. Let's send it back to you.
Guys, look forward to that preview coming up a little later on. Let's get to the highlights of this one. And we've been talking about how they were able to get it going in the second inning. And it's the 2-out singles, 2 on first and third for Mark Hamilton, the DH tonight. And he delivers in the 8-hole.
And he delivers. Key spot, key time.
Second RBI of the season for Hamilton, 1-0. Next guy up is Nick Punto, and we like looking at this one. He goes the other way with the pitch. Colby Rasmus comes home. Cardinals go up 2-0 on another 2-out base knock. Ryan Terrio then follows up Punto as the lineup turns over. New batter, same result, up the middle, and the whammer scores. It's 3-0 Redbirds. That's Terrio's 27th RBI of the season. The Cards are up 3-0.
When he stays within himself and works back up the middle, very nice swing.
Still 3-0, bottom of the 4th. Luke Scott up with a man on first. Punto begins that 4-6-3 double play. Great to have him back off the disabled list, and certainly, say the double play, the pitcher's best friend. How about bottom of the 5th? Same situation. J.J. Hardy lines one right to Punto, goes over quickly to first to get the out.
And that's where his arm's tested, because he leans back on that right foot, throws a sidearm throw to first base. He's not going to make that throw, Pat, if he doesn't believe his arm's sound.
To the 6th now. Colby Rasmus up, and he smokes one to right. This one is way out of here. Cardinals go up 4-0 on Colby's 7th of the season, and that brought rain, heavy rain. Did that home run, 28-minute delay, that's all. Then the Cardinals adding on in the 7th, Matt Holliday facing Jason Birkin. Second pitch Holliday sees, left center field it goes. Number 10 on the season, it's 6-0. That turned out to be a big run.
It was a huge run. He keeps his shoulders level, hands above the ball, and drives it to the left center as good as anybody.
9th inning, does he do it again? This time a 2-run shot.
Go ball, go ball.
Not quite. Luke Scott, what a play by Luke Scott. We make fun occasionally of AL outfielders, but that is a terrific play at the wall.
He's used to being in Camden Yards, and he knows that that fence is low enough that he can go up and get that ball. He did a great job.
And well padded. 6-2 the final, and Kyle Loesch we'll talk much more about, not pictured in those highlights, but he was strong. It was only the rain that stopped his outing at 5 innings. Lance Lynn was terrific, getting 5 strikeouts in 2 innings, and then Fernando Salas, after Ryan Franklin continues to struggle, and you hate to see that, but it's just continuing to happen over and over again. Salas comes in and gets 5 outs to wrap up the ball game. And for the Cardinals, believe it or not, that snaps a 6-game road losing streak. Remember, this team was 20-14 on the road, lost 6 in a row, came back home, continued the slide to a certain extent, and now they get back above 500 at 21-20 on the road.
Which gives them now an opportunity to win one of the next 2, and then they win this series. I think the Cardinals have lost 3 or 4 of the last 4 or 5 series. They need to win one of the next 2 games, win the series, and move on to Tampa with some confidence.
Cardinals had also gone 1-4 in their last 5 against left-handed starters.
Yeah.
They win tonight, and I think you can't discount the fact that you had David Freese and Nick Punto back in the lineup. What has the absence of Freese meant? Well, the coming out party for Daniel Descalso partly, but we know that David Freese is the third baseman for the present and the future for the Cardinals, and what has happened with him through May 1st and then May 2nd, and since May 1st was when he got injured, and you see what he was primarily as the third baseman. The numbers were very, very good. Then after that, while Daniel Descalso kind of has this knack of coming through with the big 2-out RBI late innings, that kind of thing, he's certainly not David Freese at the plate.
Well, and David Freese keeps his hands inside with the exception of this base hit on the infield. And Mark Reynolds, usually a very good third baseman, can't quite handle it, but it's a big hit. And then comes up again with a nice single. He's throwing his hands through the zone, which after having a hand injury is very, very important that he's able to do this. You don't expect those numbers to look when Daniel Descalso's in there like they did through May 1st with David Freese in there. Daniel Descalso is a kid who's learning and being developed, partly in the big leagues now because of the injury to David Freese, but you expect those numbers to kind of look like they do with David Freese in the lineup.
Batting .363 now after the 2 hits, and I don't think he's going to do that all season. But
no.
The point is, we've seen in 2 seasons now, briefly in 2 seasons, remember shortened last year for David Freese, shortened so far this year, that he's an RBI producer and a guy that's going to have high average, and they need that out of the third base
And
spot.
the reason why he produces those RBIs is because his hands stay back in the barrel of the bat, gets a chance to hit a pitch that may be sneaking by him, or he stays on an off-speed pitch, which is what exactly the pitch was that he grounded to get an infield single.
And he'll only get better as far as what, because remember, he didn't have that many at-bats, and it wasn't a tremendous outing down in his rehab assignment.
No.
He was just getting the work done, and he'll get better and better as he gets more at-bats. We'll continue. Maybe we'll get better and better as the show goes along on Missouri Lottery Cardinals.
We can only hope.
Kyle Loesch, how about ending his June swoon tonight? We'll talk about him next.